Yeah.
Uh-oh. Looks like we're live.
Oh yeah. Tell me to smile more. I'm gonna smile today the whole time. It's look weird. Huh? Okay.
All right, now I don't know where we can see who's on. Oh, hey, we can split up screens. Hopefully, folks are jumping on. Oh, we got one live. Guys, we're testing out some new software today. So I'm really curious how the audio is. If somebody would please comment and just drop a comment and let me know that you can hear us or hear me.
Check. One. As far as I go.
Yeah, there are a lot of sound guys out there that can't count above 3
Yeah, that's true.
or 2 sometimes. All right, we're getting 8 folks on here. All right, awesome guys. I'm still looking for a comment. Let me
There we go. Audio
audio
is
is great.
great.
Awesome.
Oh
Thank you. So I hate to bring this one up. Mr. Timmy Taylor can't join us today, but he's going to watch the replay. Man, well, Tim, I hope you're having a good day, whatever you're out doing. Um, who knows? Maybe you're out fishing. That'd be awesome.
probably driving.
All
Hitting
right,
drive and Facebook Live, I guess.
all right, guys. If you haven't joined us for one of these, please drop us a question. Looks like the audio is good. Thank you. I have got a few things in the hopper, so to speak,
In the queue.
in the queue. So this is some new software we're trying out. So bear with me. Hopefully it comes out looking good. That other stuff is just a hair glitchy, but this one puts us in higher definition, high definition.
So you can see all the cracks in our faces.
Exactly, exactly. So, but hopefully this works very similar. And the cool thing too is it allows when everybody has those really long questions,
Hmm. You can
um,
see the whole
you can
question.
see the whole question or at least a bunch of the
And
characters.
I
So,
got your little double
yep.
screen over here. I can see it even better over here.
All right, guys. Let's kick this off. Good morning. Welcome to another Technician Tuesday here with Michael and Israel. So you having a crazy morning
Oh,
so
every
far?
morning's crazy here, but
I mean, it's kind of like a Monday morning, except it's a Tuesday.
yeah, yeah. I call Tuesday double Mondays.
Double Mondays.
Yes, because we're closed on Monday, so everything comes in for Monday and Tuesday. So
All right. Well, so if you guys have questions, please drop them in there. Anything you're curious about, tech related, pontoons, outboards, inboard out drives.
yeah, I mean, I can tell you about them. I'm working on
All right. All right.
forklifts.
Forklifts. Well, so it was awesome to see the forklift getting used this morning to offload some boats.
Yes, it
So,
broke down halfway between the unloading of boats, and I had to fix it. So I went had to go full forklift mechanic today.
all right. Well, we got a truckload of G3s and a truckload of Avids. I'll be getting some more info out on all the boats we got in for those of you that are in the market and looking. Looks like I'm gonna have to go to one of my go-to questions. So let me see if I can bring this up. Here we go. We'll get rolling. So, what size battery are y'all using? And this comes from the Skeeter forum, actually. Let me get that cursor out of there. What size battery are y'all using for the new 250 show? Can't tell what the old battery says. So, what do we recommend for
Well,
batteries for 250
well,
show?
it depends. If you're if you're not running a lot of graphs, having to run dedicated power to like 4 graphs or something like that. If you're not doing that, then you can get by with a good 27 series battery
Okay.
that's got good. They really are getting away from the cold cranking amps, marine cranking amps, and going with reserve capacity now. So it just needs like 120 reserve capacity or something like that. So, but the 27s usually do a pretty good job if you get a quality battery. But if you run a lot of graphs, you're going to be fishing for long periods of time with all of them on, and then you're 800 you know aerator 800 aerator pumps gallons per hour aerators or 1,000. You might want to go with a 29 or 31 series. Uh, most of the most of the 31 series are AGM battery, so I would recommend that. Just make sure you use a AGM charger, because if you don't, they last almost exactly 1 year to the day.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, they'll last 4 or 5 years probably.
Well, and I know, I mean, you said repeatedly that the shows today, particularly, are a lot more sensitive to good power than some of the older motors.
Yeah, they are.
So,
but the electronics are even more sensitive, especially like big graph Solixes. Solixes take a lot of amps.
Yeah.
And then if you're running a Ultrex of any kind with any kind of special features on it, then it's very sensitive to voltage. So, of course, that's on the trolling side, but it's something that most people want to be aware of, because a lot of people are going to that.
All right. Let me bring this question up, because it's in line with what we're doing here. What are your thoughts on running a deep cycle starting battery?
It's probably not great. I mean, it's the way to design batteries is the fins inside of them that make them produce the voltage and the amps, and they're designed for a certain kind of load. Okay. In a deep cycle, they and I honestly don't know how. I just heard this explained to me at Yamaha, but the deep cycles are made in a way that they're made to spit out certain amount of amps, certain amount of voltage, but mostly amps, and not and to be able to be charged back up without doing a lot of damage to the battery. Those fins are not designed to take a real heavy load. So when you crank your motor over, it pulls anywhere from 250 to 300 amps, like hardcore, which is why a lot of these lithium batteries won't work at cranking batteries, because their limit's like 200. So you'll be trying to crank it, in the middle of cranking it, it'll just shut the battery off.
Okay.
Yeah, unless it's designed specifically for that, which there's a few out there. But I would, and your charging system is a pretty high amp charging system, and it's liable to swell that battery up and kill it too. So I would stick. They have hybrids too, and it's not as bad on those, because those same fins, let's say if the fins were like this long for deep cycle and they're like this long for cranking, they do right in between. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. And I may be inaccurate on that stuff, but that's kind of the idea.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I would at least go with a dual purpose battery if you wanted to do something like that and be able to run graphs longer and stuff. But you could just do away with all that to get all together and get AGM, because it kind of does the same thing.
What are you thinking, or thoughts, as obviously graphs are, I mean, we're seeing more and more, now a 9-inch is considered a small graph these days.
It is.
We're seeing, when guys are running 16s or 412s, 415s, thoughts on adding a house battery, a deep cycle battery just for the graphs, and then adding a whole other starter battery in the back of the boat?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you do it right, there's ways to do it where that would work. But you're also adding weight to your boat, and everybody wants less weight.
Yep.
But there's different ways to do it. But you just got to make sure that if you're going to isolate your graphs, that you just put the graphs on there, or you can do lights and stuff on there too with switches. But just the thing is, I've seen people like, well, I'm gonna put just the motor on this battery and put everything else on this battery, and you can't do that, because the boat side power has to see the same voltage as the engine power, because the computer will actually see that from the front. There's got a wire up there that's monitoring boat side voltage, and it can do some weird stuff on you.
Have you played with the new charger from PowerPole?
No, I've looked at it, I've seen it, and
Oh,
I've heard really good things about it from some of the guys. And most of the pros, even if they're sponsored, I had Menendez.
Yeah.
He usually real honest with me about even the stuff he's sponsored for, because he got sponsored with lithium batteries, and he took lithium batteries out because he didn't want the risk of burning his boat up. So,
Yeah.
But and then he had had a motor guide and had some problems with the new motor guide, and then they supposedly fixed it. He said so, but he said that charger was where it was at. So.
Well, it looks like it's got a lot of capability with, the option to recharge even your battery bank, your 36-volt bank from the motor, and change the way the electricity is flowing through your system. I got to dive in and do some more research on that.
I had to look at it. And we just got, I think
it.
we got 2 of them in. I don't know if we've sold them or not.
But that looks like some pretty cool capability
Yeah.
To control with your phone, and you can see how everything's doing. Let's see here. What are some causes of low speed misses? Runs fine, wide open. 2014 225 Pro Optimax.
Okay.
Bought a set of plugs from you last week and changed them.
Well, did it start missing after you put the plugs in, or was it missing when you put the plugs in? You put the plugs in, and it's still missing. That would be my first question. If and those engines are real picky about the gap on the plug. So if you bought them from us, you have to gap them, because we don't buy the pre-gap plugs because they cost us a lot more money for whatever reason. So,
okay.
But the IZFR 6Js or what go in that, and they have to be around 42 thousandths gap, and they come 35 thousandths. And if you put them in there and you don't gap them to 42 thousandths, it'll skip somewhere. It may skip coming up on plane, or it may skip idling. But if you gap those plugs, it'll make it go away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and if you did all that and it's still skipping, you got something else going on. You might have a coil going bad. You might have a injector that's sticking. I've seen revalve go bad and cause that. I had one the other day that was, the guy said it hadn't lost a beat on top end, but it just sounds weird, And I tested all the coils. I checked the coils, checked the injectors, and then ended up pulling the front off and had a chip revalve. So that might be another thing to consider. And I've seen broken wires on injectors where they're just pulling loose and they've got a little bit of contact, and if you pull on them a little bit, they pull it too, and I've seen that cause some issues too.
Okay. Well, hopefully that helps, Johnny. If you got more to that, then go ahead and comment it in there. Linda says hi. All right, let's jump back over here. And I'm going to make this full screen. This is well, see, there we go.
Did you do it? There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. All right. So it's a 2001 VMAX 200 OX66. It says, so I just took my low pressure fuel pumps off, and 2 out of the 3 were bad. Today I came home from work, small leak coming from behind the prop down the skeg. I took the prop off and everything looks good, but behind the shaft and the housing, there's what looks to be a puddle of oil. Stuck a shop towel in far enough, get some of the fluid, and it smells like fuel. Cracked up in the lower unit, drained the oil coming out of there, looks new. Is this from a bad fuel pumps? or any is it could it be related to the bad fuel pumps?
Well, I can say that. Let me look at. When you have a bad lift pump, there's two things that can go bad. It can either tear the diaphragm, or it can just the springs can get weak and it just didn't want to pump anymore. That's usually what I see. And sometimes the little metal pedals in there break off, but I see that far less. So if the diaphragm's bust or get a crack or a hole in the back of them, it's going to dump raw fuel into the engine, and eventually it's going to come out the back of the gear case. So yeah, it definitely could be that. And with all the other things mixed in there together, carbon and oil, it's going to come out kind of dark looking most of the time, unless you just sit there and pump the bubble, and with it trimmed down, then it'll come out, looking like gas for the most part. But yeah, and there's the wear along the edge of the prop. That could be your thrust washer's worn out and it's sunk into the lower unit a little further than it's supposed to, or it may have at one point and somebody put a new thrust washer on it and put it back on there, and it did fine. So if it's only on one side of the prop or a quarter of the prop, that usually means you have a bent prop shaft, and when you get up to speed, it's throwing that side of the prop further than the rest of the sides, and it'll usually scrape one side of the propeller.
All right.
Hope that answered all that.
Well, that was a long one. Let's see.
Got a lot going on there now.
Yeah, I got to figure out how to block some folks.
So, we got us a rogue guy here, don't we?
Nice. All right. So I own a 2018 ZX250 running last Saturday. The engine made a few metal on metal grinding type noises and died. Started it again, put in a gear, died again, dropped it off at my reliable mechanic. I have no idea who that mechanic is. This is out of the skier forum. I've always run 89 octane, used ring free and BioBore. Followed the break-in to a T. Haven't heard anything yet from the mechanic, but I've read lower unit issues in the shows. Just wanted some input from fellow show owners or those with experience. Thoughts?
Well, not a lot of information. Not enough information, but I know that the issues they've had with the lower units mostly are thrust washers wearing and the edge of the prop eating into the bearing carrier. So typically they replace that gear case. Sometimes these things leak a little oil and it can kill the top bearing too, and that'll make a nasty little noise. So,
all right.
So we got some rogue people here we got to get rid of. They're being nasty.
Yep.
Apologize for that.
Life of live streaming, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, they put our phone number up there. That's nice.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Well, we'll figure out some of that stuff.
If you didn't know our number, that is our number. But you cannot get drugs here.
All right. I'm going to remove that. And I'm going to look for some actual serious questions. And then I think we'll probably get her done for the day. So this is Johnny following up on the Optimax. Already missing gap plugs at
42. Okay.
42. Ones 25 to 30 were original plugs. So
okay. And it's still missing, I guess. So yeah, you probably have some other little thing going. I would I would probably lean towards either maybe a coil having an issue, possibly um, a tracker valve could be going bad. They've had some issues with their tracker valves or the fuel pressure regulator, the little diaphragms in there. They can get a real small crack in those and run pretty good, and for the most part, until they get bigger cracks. So,
All right. Well, I'm not seeing anything other than a bunch of garbage, so I'm gonna go figure out how to clean all that stuff up. But hopefully answered a couple of good questions today, and yeah, I guess it's another Tech Tuesday in the books.
mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll get back at it next week, and we'll get some info on some new boats we just got in.
Mm-hmm.
And all that kind of good stuff.
Got some Avids in.
Yeah, we got a couple of the bays, and there's some good looking boats out there. So I'm excited to go get some photos and get them on the internet. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day.